Hey guys, it's Josh here and welcome back to another super original video here on the channel. Today I'm going to be revisiting my first theme park video after the 2020 season and ranking every Thorpe Park ride from 1 to 24. Now before we begin, I am aware that some parts of my list are quite controversial, but if we were all the same, what would be the fun in doing videos like this? And I have ridden every single ride on this list, some only once while others more than 50. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the rankings. Kicking off the list at number 24 we have Lumber Jump. This is a small junior drop tower that opened in 2017, and while it's great for younger guests and gives some good views of Old Town, it's not really worth an enthusiast's time, so that's why it's last place on my list. Moving on to number 23 we have Angry Birds Wild Hog Dodgems, a Dodgems ride that opened in 2014. And these are very underpowered Dodgems compared to others I've experienced, and they're always in a long queue, so I tend not to bother with these very often. At number 22 is Mr. Monkey's Banana Ride, a junior pirate ship that opened in 1994. Yes, the year Nemesis at Alton Towers, the big one at Blackpool, and Shockwave at Drayton Manor all open to the public, we got stuck with this. It's a decent ride for the kids, but nothing special at all. At the number 21 spot is Timber Tugboat, a Zamperla Rockin' Tug that opened in 2017. This provides a nice, gentle swinging sensation that isn't too sickening, so the whole family can enjoy it. Although for me personally, it's not my type of ride. Taking the number 20 spot is Storm in a Teacup, a marked teacup ride that opened in 1986, and I still really enjoy these. I like how you can control how much you spin, but sometimes I like to just sit back and ride a ride instead of having to work it yourself, which is pretty much what Storm in a Teacup is. At number 19 is the Rocky Express, a marked ride that opened in 1989. And this is a pretty decent junior flat ride, and you can even feel some decent, borderline painful lateral forces. Not to mention that awesome soundtrack, but I can only place a children's ride so high. Number 18 is Depth Charge, a 4-lane raft slide that opened in 1991. And these are only fun when you're racing down family and friends, seeing how fast you can go and who can win. Without other people though, it's mediocre at best. Coming in at number 17 is Storm Surge, a spinning raft ride that opened in 2011. This ride doesn't fit in at Thorpe Park at all. It stands out like a sore thumb in the skyline with its bright colours. It doesn't really fit in with the Amity area either, but it is redeemed by its views and its fun factor when riding with friends, which make it a decently good ride. At number 16 is a Flying Fish, a Mack powered coaster that opened in 1983. And it's a great ride for younger park guests who want to ride their first roller coaster but aren't ready for the larger ones yet. It consists of a few slow helixes, it doesn't do a lot, but it fills an important role in the park's lineup as a starter coaster. At number 15 is Quantum, a Fabry Magic carpet that opened in 2003. And this one actually gives it a little airtime and some nice forces, but this year it's been running a painfully short cycle, so I could only rank it so high. Although I do hope it sticks around, as it's a great ride for families to enjoy. Number 14 is Tidal Wave, a shoot the chute ride that opened in 2000. And this is a mega fun ride, the drop is great, as are the views from the top, and it's lovely on a hot, sunny day. But how often do we get those in the UK? I certainly wouldn't want to ride it on a cold and cloudy day, so once again I can only rank it so high. Coming in at number 13 is Rumba Rapids, an Intamin Rapids that opened in 1987, and I've come to love this ride this year. Its course is full of fun bumps and dips, not to mention a few splashes as well, and its queue is very fast moving, so it's great to do any time while the bigger rides are on higher queues. And did I mention the views over to Stealth are phenomenal? At number 12 is Samurai, a Mondale top scan that opened in 2004, and I really have a love-hate relationship with this ride. Sometimes I love it, and other times I feel like I'm going to be sick after riding, so I placed it somewhere in between those two moods. It's a great ride with some insane forces, and if you love being tossed around like a ragdoll, this ride is for you. But for future reference, Burger King right before riding is not a good idea. Number 11 is Vortex, a KMG afterburner that opened in 2001. I've really grown to love this ride. Sure, it's not the most intense experience in the world, but it's just great fun. When the train reaches full swing, you're going pretty fast. You also get a pop of airtime on some swings, and of course you get some amazing views over Manor Lake. It also fits in amazingly with the Lost City area, with its amazing blue colour and the foliage all around it. All around, Vortex is just a really solid flat ride. Kicking off the top 10 we have Detonator, a Fabry drop tower that opened in 2001. I actually only got my first ride on this 115-foot beast this year, but I loved it so much that I rode it 7 more times. Now don't get me wrong, this is certainly not a re-rideable ride. In fact, this is the ride that scares me the most at the park, but when you're going down that drop, you get some world-class airtime and unbeatable force, and you just let your hands go and enjoy the experience. At number 9 is Zodiac, a Huss Enterprise that opened at the park in 2001. This is a ride that gets way too much hate, with many complaining that it makes them feel ill, but for me at least, this has never been an issue. Instead, I focus on the free design of the cars with no restraints, the fairly long ride time, and the strong sustained positive G-force. This ride doesn't tend to attract long queues, so it's rude not to snag a ride on it every time I'm on the island. At the number 8 spot we have The Walking Dead The Ride, a Vekoma Enigma model enclosed in a building which opened in 1996. This ride used to be known as X No Way Out, and then simply X, but I feel like the Walking Dead theme works great here. The former indoor queue has been repurposed as a walkthrough section, with flashing lights, smell pods, and great theming. The ride itself, while only being a family coaster, is packed with some nice turns, a good sense of speed, and a great selection of theming, which even extends to some of the brake runs. Overall, this is a really great all-around package that I feel gets way too overlooked. Number 7 brings the first large-scale S&S Screaming Swing, Rush, which opened at the park back in 2005. Now, while this may be a very short experience, lasting less than a minute, the ride more than makes up for it in other areas. It brings a wide variety of both positive and negative G-forces, including some absolutely monumental sustained floater at the top of each swing, and the views are absolutely incredible, bearing in mind you're about 100 foot over the island at the top of each swing. It's also a great icon for the park, sitting proudly in Lost City, and I can confidently say that this is the best flat ride at Thorpe Park. At number 6 is Darren Brown's Ghost Train, which is a virtual reality dark ride that opened at the park in 2016. I think saying that this ride gets hated on would be an understatement, and I honestly don't get how. And in my opinion, this £13 million dark ride is so much better than other fan favourites such as Hex. For me, it's just a complete package, with a pre-show, a long core experience with great effects when they're working, as well as an awesome finale. I don't mind when a ride is based on screens, as long as the screens play a part in telling the story, and on this Ghost Train they do just that. Mind you, there are some great practical effects in there as well, such as the train and the station. Overall, this is a truly world-class dark ride that I just feel doesn't get talked about enough. Kicking off the big 5 roller coasters, at number 5 we have Nemesis Inferno, a B&M invert that opened at the park in 2003. I feel like this ride would be held in a much higher regard if they just dropped the Nemesis part from the name and simply rebranded it as Inferno, as just holding that legendary title draws instant comparison. And for me anyway, there's no competition, Nemesis wins by a landslide. Not to say that Inferno isn't a fun ride, far from it in fact. It's pretty smooth, fairly intense, well paced, and looks great in its highly themed area. The soundtrack for this ride is also great, and fits the ride perfectly. Overall, I think this ride has a defined place in the Thorpe lineup, but in my opinion, it certainly isn't the strongest coaster. At number 4 we have Colossus, an Intamin 10 inversion coaster that opened at the park in 2002. This coaster has always been one I've had a soft spot for, and placing it at number 4 isn't saying it's a bad ride at all. In fact, this ride is still comfortably in my top 10, sitting at my number 8 spot. I want to start by talking about just how amazing the area around it is. The Lost City area is overall my favourite area at Thorpe Park, and around Colossus is especially well themed. The layout is also great, with 10 awesome inversions and a great dose of hang time, positives and inversions. Everyone always calls this ride rough, but personally, aside from being a little bumpy on the final Heartline rolls, it's as smooth as any other Intamin. This is a really strong coaster that doesn't get the credit it deserves. At the number 3 spot we have The Swarm, a B&M wing coaster that opened at the park in 2012. This ride is held in a very high regard by UK enthusiasts, and I can see why. It's ridiculously smooth, has exceptional apocalyptic theming, and a great, forceful layout. It's not the longest ride in the world, but it doesn't need to be. Every element is perfectly placed, and not only feels great on ride, but also looks great off ride, flying over the Swarm Island themed area. It's just a shame that 9 years on, it's still the newest coaster at the park, and with no plans for a new one imminent, just how long will that be for? At number 2 is Saw the Ride, a Gerstlauer Eurofighter that opened at the park in 2009. This ride is a great all-round ride. It has a good layout, but the thing that makes it stand out is the theming. You have a fully themed queue, station and dark ride section before you even reach the lift hill, and it's very immersive. Although that immersion breaks once you reach the outside portion, it makes up for it with its layout. 3 inversions, a long ride time and an amazing ejector movement which is one of the best in the UK. A standard Eurofighter layout, but the theme results in it being one of the better ones in the world. And at the number 1 spot, of course, we have Stealth, an Intamin accelerator that opened at the park in 2006. In my opinion, this is a truly elite coaster, and it absolutely smashes Saw the Ride to retain its number 1 status in the park. That launch is nothing short of incredible. 0 to 82 miles an hour in under 2 seconds is something you won't experience many times, and it's truly an incredible feeling. Then you have the top hat, which is insanely forceful pulling in and out of it, and provides some breathtaking views of the peak. On top of all that, the final bunny hop into the brakes, along with the top hat, gives some fantastic airtime. And while this coaster is short, it's one of the best I've ridden purely for these reasons. And that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, and tell me down below, as comments are what motivate me to spend hours on videos like these. I also have a lot of exciting videos coming up soon, so you'll want to stay tuned for those. And as this is the last video of 2020, I just want to say thank you so much for the support you've shown me this year. It's been amazing and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. But with all that being said, that's me signing off.